You hear the screeching of an owl, you hear the wind begin to howl. You know there's zombies on the prowl, and it's terror time again. They've got you running through the night. It's terror time again, and you just might die of fright. It's a terrifying time.
Hello everyone, we've got another beginner's guide for y'all today. In today's video, we're taking a look at the northern half of Louisville and seeing what interesting and useful locations we could scrounge up as a base to loot, or even just to check out and use as a landmark while exploring this vast city of high rises and slums. Before we dive in, however, I'd like to give a shout out to the lovely Foxfire. Be sure to check the description below and check out some of her content. I'd also like to thank y'all for all the support. Now let's dive into the city, shall we? The Central Park in Louisville is vast and provides a nice area in the city's center to forage for supplies without having to leave the city itself. This park is as big as some of the smaller towns and suburbs in other areas of the game, and with its central location provides a great landmark. I mean, to the west, you've got the Northern Rail Yard, to the south is the Audubon Mall, there's suburbs all around, and within the park itself, there's also a few nice surprises. There's a lake with a footbridge in the center of the park, there's a horse training and stables on the southwest end of the park, and in the north, there's a golf club with a big clubhouse in the northwest corner of the park. And there's even an ice cream stand and a cabin that has an antique oven, which could definitely be of use when the power goes. Overall, this place makes for a fantastic landmark and could even provide you with a nice forested getaway to break away from pursuers and lead them away from you. Mentioned in the last video when I was covering the southern half of Louisville, this area is on the western side of the park and can also be located by following the train tracks towards it as well. This sprawling complex consists of 10 buildings with a lot of ground to cover and high walls almost nearly surrounding it, all of which provides cover and concealment from the hordes of the city prowling outside. Just hope the walls don't also conceal a threat from you if you're forced to flee, only to jump a fence and land into a pile of them. The buildings within this compound have a decent supply of hardware equipment, some food as well as water available in the break building and the train station. There's also a mini fridge in the rail tower, which also provides a high lookout point. The train station also contains a small store, a cafe, and some more rooms. I will let you know, in the train station there's also a break room with a couch and comfy chairs. And there's also some bugs with this area. So say the turnstiles, you could jump them to go into the rail area, but you can't jump them to get back out. And speaking of buggy areas, half of the tall fence actually doesn't work. You can phase right through it. I found that out on a stream and it was just like, what the hell? But the train station also contains a small store, a cafe, and some more additional rooms. Overall, it's an interesting place to take over, as long as you keep in mind the issues. It would probably make a cool ass fort if you could secure it and build it up with some friends. The Scarlet Oak Distillery. This place was the home of one of my longest running cryogenic winter runs on the YouTube streams, and this is one of my personal favorites in the area. This large distillery is located right on the western riverbank, and it's almost entirely surrounded in high fences, with 3 large buildings, a huge stash of liquor with a private bar in as well, and being located with a gas station directly southeast of it, a convenience store directly east with a restaurant, lots of suburbs, warehouses to the north with a large variety of loot in them, and even those riverfront homes I mentioned in the last video directly south of them. This place makes for either great loot or a great base. Hell, I took over the 3-story building that held all the liquor casks. I made a big indoor farm, and I even turned the elevator shaft into my own personal bedroom, and the one on the 3rd floor into a reading room with a TV. It's a great place to base for sure, and a place I go to anytime I'm based in Louisville, if I can manage it. Plus all that bourbon means Molotovs for days. I think I've recovered over 80 bottles of bourbon. That's enough to burn down a sizable portion of Louisville if you're trying. If you're looking for just about anything, this is the area to go. Located directly north of the distillery we just talked about, this place is loaded with factories and warehouses of all sorts. You could find so much different stuff here, from kick-ass stashes of hardware to snacks, electronics, furniture, clothing, and more. If you can think of it, you'll likely be able to find some of it here. I even managed to find an antique oven in some of the crates during one of my runs, while in a freight warehouse, which had just about everything I could think of on its own. Plus, with it having so many high fences and being so closely located to the riverfront, there's a decent chance of isolation if you clear out the surrounding areas. Plus, there's even an auto shop here as well, actually a couple of them, and more. Just keep in mind that this area is large and sprawling, so it's easy to get lost and turned around here. That being said, is less of an issue than it used to be with the in-game map though. Still, don't run into a dead end in a panic, or else you'll start to learn how a sardine in a can feels. Did you think the Audubon Mall I discussed in the last video was too small for you? Well, if that's the case, then the Grand Ohio Mall has you covered and then some. With 3+ floors, a large floor plan, and more shops than you could shake a stick at, you'll be shopping and the zombies will be dropping. From the sky, that is. Hell, this building technically goes up 5 stories, which means you've got plenty of space to expand and options aplenty, if you can take this place. Any type of loot you could feasibly want is going to be located here. Hell, the food court alone has 7 different restaurants in it, but with all those resources and loot comes a price. You're gonna have to fight an insanely large amount of zombies. Doubly so given that this is located in downtown Louisville, right by the northern riverbank. So don't try to hit this place unprepared, or you'll be dragged kicking and screaming like Captain Rhodes in Day of the Dead. Speaking of, great movie. Go watch it if you never have. A lot of fun and has some cool social commentary. But yeah, for now, you'll be trapped in your own Dawn of the Dead. Can you take over the mall without destroying it and secure it for yourself? Take me out to the ball game, and you better not forget my damn hot dog. This baseball stadium's located at the mid-north end of the map, closer to the river than the park, and this place serves as a nice landmark. Plus, given it's a large 3-story, 4 if you count the roof, baseball stadium with lots of loot, it could be a great place to raid or even consider a makeshift base of your own. This place has a lot of potential, but with it being located in the northern center area, you run the risk of striking out to the hordes. But I guess that's what happens when you play ball. So swing batter and see if you can hit a home run and score yourself and your team a new base. It's a real diamond in the rough. This place is also surrounded by apartment buildings and businesses, so you could score a major heist, a real blowout for you. Whatever choice you make, it's time to play ball. This northern strip that runs across the North Riverbank is just full of all sorts of businesses. Anything you can think of, you can almost certainly find it here, with the exception of hardware. But if you want to be technical, if you head far enough down, you will find a hardware store called Zach's Hardware. But otherwise, this place has food, clothing, restaurants, even a gym, hotel, VHS stores. So if you're looking for a large amount of variety loot, you can find it all here. Just keep in mind that given it's downtown, the hordes will be pretty concentrated here. So keep on your toes, be vigilant, and be ready to haul ass at the drop of a hat. To the eastern edge of Louisville lies 3 homes. Surrounded in high fences and fairly isolated, these homes can grant you the boon of isolation and high fences if you could take them. And given that all three of the fancy, expensive style of houses with attached garages and the neighborhood around it, which are still of 2-story large homes with nearby garages, like the ones that make up a large part of West Point, there's some real value to be mined here. Hell, one of the houses even has a small pond in its backyard, which you can use as both a source of water and fish. That makes this place a prime choice for anyone just trying to dig in and base in a nice place. Keep in mind though, in multiplayer, this place is highly sought after. Overall, I think I covered a good variety of highlights located all over the map, from hardware to alcohol to sports and everything in between. Now, I didn't cover suburbs and apartments for a reason, and that's because these things are everywhere. The vast majority of the city is made of apartments, suburbs, and townhouses. Do you really want me to list off, oh, here's suburb number 99, it's got houses. The houses have house loot ranging from food, clothing, weaponry, and light amounts of hardware. Nah, in this video I'm trying to highlight points of interest and give you ideas of places to hit. Either for fantastic bases or give you goals for things to raid, if you have the intestinal fortitude for it. But I think that's enough of that tangent. Louisville's a fantastic city. I'm sure I didn't cover plenty of places. I mean, the city is massive. There's quite possibly thousands of new buildings. I'd be here for weeks if I was to name off every single point of interest. So instead, consult the map project and scan it for interesting locales if you're looking for more ideas, or do it the old-fashioned way and hoof it around the map. I mean, it is quite fun to explore, as long as you don't get cornered and eaten, that is. Now, before I end this video, I'd like to thank you all once again for the support on the videos and streams. It means a lot to me. I'd like to thank Foxfire for her lovely artwork once again. Go catch her on a stream, why don't ya? And I'd also like to thank the people who have monetarily supported the content. Thanks again to everyone who came by and supported on stream as well. Y'all are the best. This has been Core, and I'll see you next time.